Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is August 14th, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament, and we're in the book of Ruth. We're going to read chapter 3. All right, so Ruth has gone with her mother-in-law, Naomi, back to Jerusalem. She's a widow. She's dedicated herself to taking care of her mother-in-law, Naomi, who is also a widow. One of the things she was doing is gleaning in a field, so that means she goes in after they harvest the field and takes whatever was left before it gets plowed under. And she has ended up in the field of a man named Boaz. Took me a second to remember that one. A man named Boaz, who it turns out is her kinsman redeemer. What does that mean? Well, there's a Jewish custom, Jewish law that we've read about before, where if a man and a woman are married and they have no children and the man dies, the next closest relative is supposed to marry her, have a child. That child is now the heir of the first husband, and to continue his line, and then all the rest of the children are theirs. They have their own family. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a brother. It's the next closest relative, and it's not something that they're compelled to do. They don't necessarily have to do it, but if they do it, then they're required to do what they can to produce a heir. We saw Onan way back in Genesis, who agreed to be a kinsman redeemer and married the wife, but all he just wanted to do was have sex with her and have all his brother's goods, and did everything he could not to have a child. So they ended up putting him to death, because that's not the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to produce a child to be the heir, to continue that line, and then if you want to stay married to her, you stay married to her, and you have your own family. Now, it turns out that Boaz is the second closest relative. So he says, okay, I'm going to go and talk to the guy who's closer than me, and if he wants to marry you, he can marry you, but if he doesn't, then I will marry you. And in order to get to that point, Ruth is going to have to show him that, you know what, well, I'm interested in you, I'm done being a widow. And Naomi helps her out and tells her, this is what I want you to do. Now, all of this stuff that we're going to see her do, does it have sexual connotations? Yeah, Jewish writings, they're euphemisms for sex, but she is not actually having sex with Boaz. So this is just kind of showing her willingness and saying, hey, you know what? If you're looking, I'm available, and I'd like you to be my husband. And Boaz says, hey, you know what? You're virtuous. You're wonderful. You're a great person. You know, now that I know that you are indeed looking for a husband, like I said, I know the person who's entitled to marry you first, and if he won't do it, I'm your man. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Ruth chapter 3. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, my daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may be well with you? Now Boaz, whose young women you are with, is he not our relative? In fact, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Therefore wash yourself and anoint yourself, put on your best garment, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. And then it shall be, when he lies down, that you shall notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in, uncover his feet, and lie down. And he will tell you what you should do. And she said to her, all that you say to me I will do. So she went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law instructed her. And after Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was cheerful, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came softly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Now it happened at midnight that the man was startled and turned himself. And there a woman was lying at his feet. And he said, who are you? So she answered, I am Ruth, your maidservant. Take your maidservant under your wing, for you are a close relative. Then he said, blessed are you of the Lord, my daughter, for you have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning, and that you did not go after young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you request, for all the people of my town know that you are a virtuous woman. Now it is true that I am a close relative. However, there is a relative closer than I. Stay this night, and in the morning it shall be that if he will perform the duty of a close relative for you, good, let him do it. But if he does not want to perform the duty for you, then I will perform the duty for you. As the Lord lives, lie down until morning. So she lay at his feet until morning, and she arose before one could recognize another. Then he said, do not let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. Also he said, bring the shawl that is on you and hold it. And when she held it, he measured 6 ephahs of barley and laid it on her. Then she went into the city. When she came to her mother-in-law, she said, is that you, my daughter? Then she told her all that the man had done for her. And she said, These 6 ephahs of barley he gave me, and he said to me, do not go empty-handed to your mother-in-law. Then she said, sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will turn out, for the man will not rest until he has concluded the matter this day. May God bless the reading of his word. May God bless you. Bye.